Section. What is a section drawing? Why do we need section drawings? Section line. Line weight in sections. Dimensioning in sections. Materials and hatching in sections. Scales of sections. Checklist for sections. How to draw sections. These are the topics that we will cover today. So, what is a section drawing? A section drawing in architecture is a representation of a building or structure that shows the internal and external features as they would appear if a hypothetical plane was made through the building and cut it into sections. This type of drawing helps architects and engineers to understand the building's interior and exterior design elements and their relationships with each other. It also helps us to clarify building systems such as electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and how they are integrated with the building. Overall, a section drawing provides a clear and detailed description of building's three-dimensional form and is a crucial tool in the design process. Plans, sections, and elevations, different types of drawings used by architects to graphically represent a building design and construction. Plan. A drawing on a horizontal plane showing a view from above. Section. A drawing is also a vertical depiction, but one that cuts through the space to show what lies within. Section drawings are orthographic projections, which means they are not drawn in perspective and there is no foreshortening. If we remember projecting systems, orthographic projection, as you might remember, we have the top view, we have the front view, and we have the side view. But when we take the side view from inside the building, then it becomes a section. If we look from outside of the building, then it is an elevation. Architectural section is an orthographic projection, reducing the three-dimensional complexity of an object to two dimensions, height and either width or length. The drawing of a vertical cut through a building or an area of a building. A common design drawing and technical architectural or engineering convention for graphical representation of architecture. And as you can see here, we have a section from the building in which we can see the kitchen and the windows and the doors. And another section from the building in which we can see the stairs and still the kitchen and the cabinets. And another section from the building in which we can see the bathrooms and other design elements. And as you can see, because the section is taken from all of the building, we can see the basement also, the parts which are under the ground, as you can see here. And also, we give sections from details, like as you can see from these design elements. These are very necessary and crucial for design to be represented and also to be produced. Why do we need section drawings? Section drawings are an essential tool in architecture design process for several reasons. Number one, understanding, building, functionality. Section drawings provide a clear representation of how different spaces within a building are interconnected. So there's a space, there's a building, there are spaces, and what is the relation between them? How do we circulate in these buildings? That is something that we can get from sections. And how building systems such as electrical, mechanical, and plumbing are integrated within the building. This helps architects and engineers to ensure that the building will function efficiently and effectively. Number 2, communication of design intent. Section drawings are a clear and a concise way to communicate the designer's vision to tell clients, contractors, and other stakeholders. They provide a clear picture of the building's form, layout, and spatial relationships. And number 3, constructability. Section drawings provide detailed information about the building structure, which is crucial for construction teams in ensuring the building can be constructed as intended. We need section drawings in architecture to give detailed information graphically about the main volumes of the building and the main building material components and materials. If you look at this building in which we take a section, we can see a main volume, as you can see here, the interior. There's a huge room, a big room. And there is something that we can understand from a section. To help the builder better understand your interior and exterior construction details. If you look at this very non-detailed, very simple section, we can see where the windows, where the openings, and how high the ceiling, the roof, and every kind of important information. For studying and revealing the vital solid-void relationship between the floors, walls, and roof structure of a building, and the vertical dimensions and relationships of the contained spaces. To design and communicate the details of the building's construction, as well as the assembly of furniture and cabinetry. Yes, this example is a very looking very far away from the building, but you can see cabinets here and sitting units here and how they are placed, and in details how they are built up can be shown and can be understood from sections. To show such things as wall and roof framing detail, exterior wall layers, stair construction, and even interior details such as variances in floor and ceiling heights, soffits, moldings, and cabinetry. To show window details such as dimensions, exact locations with respect to interior walls and their heights relative to the ceiling or floor. What is a section line? A section line should be put in the plan drawing to show from which axis and towards which direction the section will be taken. So here we have a section line and the triangles show us the direction that we are looking at. A section is drawn from a vertical plane slicing through a building. This is as if you cut through a space vertically and stood directly in front, looking straight at it, without any perspective. The location of the section cut through two short lines, where the cutting plane emerges from the edges of the floor plane. An arrow at the end of each line points in the direction of view. Short sections are cross sections, and long sections are longitudinal sections. Here you see another section line, and as you can see, it is passing all through the plan. So we can see what is inside of this plan. And from this plan, we can understand that there are stairs. So that means there's a level difference. And there are some doors that we will see in this section, like the one of the doors here, the bathroom door, this corridor, and whatever inside this room, we will be able to see it in this section. And as you can see, there are some numbers. Like 1 here means section number, and the other one, A5, is a sheet reference, which is giving us information about which page this section belongs to. As you have learned in previous lessons, a section line doesn't have to be straight. It can have some offsets so that we will be able to see what we intend to show to the customers or people who will do the production. If a space has a symmetrical plan, like these old churches, this is a Baroque period church, along the axis of symmetry, then you don't have to do any kind of offset section. A straight cross section will be fine. But in other cases, through the most important spaces and look in a direction that reveals the principal features of the space, that is where your section line should go. What are the principal features of a space? Openings, windows and doors, skylighting, major changes in level, spatial conditions of vertical circulation. Cut through the most typical building volumes. This helps viewers understand the structure as a whole and major relationship between spaces and voids. Line weighting sections. Actually, the line weighting sections work in the same way the line weight works in plans, because a plan is a horizontal section, as we have talked about in previous lectures. So that means the closer the surface, the thicker the line will be. As you can see in this example, whenever we have a cut through, as you can see in this chimney, in these walls, the lines are thicker. But if the figures that we see are far away from us, like these ones here, or the details on the door, then the lines will be thinner. Dimensioning in sections. As you can see in these examples, in sections, we use this type of a symbol to provide the necessary information that is the level that we are looking at. Like in this example, it says 3.5. So that means this floor is 3.5 meter high from the floor, from the ground level. And it says here 5.3. So this means at this point, we are reaching 5.3 meters higher from the ground level. This goes on like that. And in sections, as you see, the dimension lines are shown to provide necessary information, and as well as typography to give information about the function of the space or any kind of information about materials that we want to provide. Level with triangle symbol, important structural elements like floor, level differences, stairs, openings, roofs, and terrace. So with this triangle symbol, we don't use them in the furniture inside, but we use them outside in the exterior of the building to show important features, as I have said, like openings or ceiling. But in the interior, we give dimensions, as you can see here. Materials and hatching in sections. As you can see, these hatch figures are universal language. So the way we show a wall, which is usually brick, this hatching is used all around the world. So the way that we present a concrete, as you can see here, this hatching is also an international usage. So we don't make up hatches according to our personal taste. We use the international symbols in hatches. Scales of sections. Generally, all the same scales with the floor plans. So if a floor plan is 1 to 50, then the section will be 1 to 50. If the floor plan is 1 to 20, then the section will be 1 to 20. Changing the scale means not only changing the dimensions, but adapting the level of details. So if it is 1 to 20, then you got to show more details and more information had to be provided. But if the section is 1 to 50 scale, then more general construction information and details had to be provided. Check these 4 sections. So when you are doing sections, when you're finishing your sections, these are the things that you got to check to be sure that you have provided, like indicate the section name and the scale. Draw the ground line with thick line. Indicate the space names. Draw level indicators on both sides. Draw dimensions of elements in elevation, like building furnitures. Draw furniture which are on interior elevation. Hatch structural systems and spatial surfaces in relation to the scale. Draw axes with center lines. Draw doors and windows with labels and reference numbers. Indicate material names with material labels. Show any hidden objects with hidden lines. If needed, put the drawing in the template. And you got to pay attention to the hierarchy of the dimensions. Section cut hatches, they are different from interior elevation hatches. Each material has a different type of hatch. 4 level indicators, which always give them in relationship to the level 0.00, which is ground level. Other level indicators, always give them in relationship to openings and building furniture, line types, line thickness, and if necessary, draw a human figure for scaling, for people to understand the human and the object relationship, or human and the space relationship, and the direction of opening in windows and doors. How to draw sections. Now let's do an example. Let's see an example. You got some couple of steps that you got to take when you're drawing a section. Number 1, you got to choose the section plane. Decide where you want to cut through the building to reveal its interior structure, and select the section line accordingly. Determine the section scale. Decide on a suitable scale for the section drawing. It should be large enough to show details, but not so large that the drawing becomes cluttered. Label the section line. Clearly label the section line on your drawing, indicating the direction of viewing and the scale. And draw the interior spaces, including walls, ceilings, floors, and any building elements such as cabinets, the fireplaces. Add dimensions, including the height of the walls and ceiling, the length and width of spaces, and any relevant distances between elements. Show materials and finishes. Indicate the materials and finishes used in the interior spaces, such as wall and floor finishes, cabinetry, and countertops. Add annotations. Add any relevant annotations to the section, including notes on mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, lighting, and other important details. Check for accuracy. Review your section drawing carefully to ensure that it is accurate, clear, and easy to understand. Make any necessary revisions before finalizing the drawing. As you might remember from last semester, we are using this 45-degree guideline, which is still efficient in any kind of section drawing also. Now, let's try to understand how we draw the section of this room, which is an entrance here. It has got 1, 2, 3 windows and a door. It's an exit door to the balcony. And as you can see here, we have a section line and we have the direction of the section B. For us to draw the section easily, what we do, we rotate the plan because we are looking at this direction. By rotating the plan, now we know where we are exactly looking and we can use our guidelines to draw the section. And we already have the elevation here, so it's a very orthographical representation, top view, side view, you might remember. So we have the top view, which is a plan, and we have the side view, which is a side elevation. And then we start to draw the guidelines. First, we draw the guidelines from the major elements, such as walls, as you can see here. And then the boundary of our building, as you can see here, we get a guideline from the plan. And then we draw the bottom line from the elevation, which is also has to be in a thickness. And then we draw the top line from the elevation, again by using guidelines, again giving it a thickness. And then we start to draw guidelines from the objects that we see inside, like an opening at the ceiling, the door, and the windows. And then we trim all the unnecessary information that is out of our scope, because this is where our section will be. So these lines here will not be necessary. And we use guidelines to transfer more information from plan to the section, from both the plan and both from the elevation. As you can see here, the window that we see in the elevation is transferred to the section by using only guidelines. And the other windows that we see interior of the space are also transferred. And by the help of guidelines from elevation, we know where the windows will start and where they will end. And more information is transferred by guidelines. And we start to hatch the surfaces, the walls that we cut, which gives us a huge help to understand exactly where the section is. And we give all the annotations and dimensions, like the names, the height, the surface name, maybe the materials, the interior dimensions. That's all. And of course, then we trim, we clean all the unnecessary lines. I hope you have understand, but if you have any more questions, I am here. You can ask me anytime you wish. Have a nice day.